everyone to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I'm joined, of course, by my good friend, Matt.
I've got one hand in the grave and one hand in a McRib sandwich back for a limited time.
Son of a bitch. One thing that's... Wait, so it was the McRib and a cookie?
No, I said I have one hand in a grave.
Oh, a grave. I thought you had...
A one...
I guess I have cookies on the mind of the cookie jar.
One hand in a grave and one hand in a McRib sandwich back for a limited time.
Oh, man. I feel like I still hear people talking about, like, the McRib, like, even as if it is available on a constant basis. And I don't understand it. I don't know if it's ever been that good.
It probably hasn't been, but it's rare, and it only comes around every once in a while.
I've
never had it. I've never had it.
So it's like polio, but we're not trying to grasp for it.
When does polio come back?
It's coming back because people are not vaccinating their children.
Okay, but it's still not like a yearly expectation thing.
Get an unlimited deal on polio.
I'm not expecting polio. I'm expecting measles.
Measles. I'm saying all those diseases are coming back. This may turn
all
into
the diseases that were extinct.
I turned this
Get
into
ready for the bubonic plague.
I turned into this anti-vaxxer podcast. Anyways, welcome everyone.
Fuck anti-vaxxers. If you're an anti-vaxxer, stop listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Actually, I'm totally fine with it. Alienating that fan base. Welcome everyone. I'm kind of at a loss of words to start the podcast outside of what just fucking happened, but this is a weird week for us because we just spent last week talking about every single team as if we knew what the hell is happening in the NFL. And we don't.
Guess what? We don't.
and we don't, because everything went to shit this week when it came to our picks. Came to chaos and trying to understand what the heck's happening in this world that we know of, and it's not. We have no idea, and everything is a lie. So we're gonna try to recap some of this in a segment I call Surreal Sunday, even though one of these matchups is on a Monday.
It's fine.
But
it's so surreal. The day lasted an extra 24 hours.
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt. I think that's how it felt. And we should start with the game of the year. And Matt, you could go ahead and talk about this.
So the game of the year was Seattle versus San Francisco. That happened last night as of recording this. Wow.
Yeah. Good game.
Both teams played very well on offense and on defense. Had a lot of exciting takeaways that resulted in touchdowns or just good possessions.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a possible playoff matchup in the future. One of these teams seems set to take the division, but the other one's probably going to be a wild card team. Then the one that won the game is probably going to be the wild card team.
Potentially.
We'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Mm-hmm.
But you hand the 49ers their first loss. You send the game to overtime with field goal shenanigans, with an interception in overtime. It was an amazing matchup. You can really see all the players on the team taking a step up. There were some significant injuries on both sides too, especially in the wide receiver department, with Emmanuel Sanders and Tyler Lockett both going down during the game. That allowed some other receivers, such as Deebo Samuel, Josh Gordon's debut, to really take a step up in this game, which was really, really cool to see that these two great teams are so deep.
Yeah, I think the most surreal thing is that I think Russell Wilson. I kind of went into. Last week thinking Lamar Jackson could end up becoming the MVP, but Russell Wilson quieted me a little bit because he had a game where, and especially near the end of the game, where he had a lot of around him that was not really super reliable, and and even at times, like, I know DK Metcalf basically just became like a meme of his own self. Like, before the the draft, like, everyone kind of was like, all right, is he really gonna be successful? But he has been, and that's been mostly, and not to discredit his talent, mostly because of Russell Wilson and what he's been able to do.
Yeah.
He's been incredible this year. He's playing, I think, at a level that we haven't even seen him yet, which is surreal because he has played so well in his career. And, like, I find that Wilson is someone that's going to be... I think at this point it's fair to say, after years of him being part of this league and being part of it, and being just such a big name in the league for so long, being a top 5 quarterback every single year, we all thought that Andrew Luck would probably be the guy from that draft. Russell Wilson is the best quarterback that came out of 2012, no question, and he might even be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback, when it's all said and done. He's just playing that well. He's running the ball so well. He's throwing dimes, and he's able to escape the pocket like no one else. He's really, really good at what he does.
I really hope he has a career as long as Rodgers and Brady, so that people can really see that he's one of the best to play the game.
Yeah, and for the Niners, I mean, look, the Seattle's defense, which hasn't really been great this year, had linebackers like the great guys like Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright really on them all game. Had some guys step up near the end of the game, especially the defensive line that was just dominant.
Clowney finally
I forgot about Clowney.
Starting to be Clowney.
Yeah, Clowney actually was probably the best defender on Seattle that day. It was really a great game. So to me, I don't look badly at the Niners. I think that a lot of people are going to gain up on Jimmy G because he did look like out of sync near the end of the game, but I very much still have faith in him as a passer. Just he has to be able to play under pressure a lot better. And I mean, they almost won the game. They had George Kittle out for a lot of the game, and they had Emmanuel Sanders out for portions of the game. I'm not gonna sit here and debury the Niners. It was a hard-fought game that just didn't go their way. They didn't have their best kicker, and Chase McLaughlin actually pushed it to overtime. It was great. So really, really awesome game.
ILL.
Yeah.
The other surreal football moment for me, the Illinois graduate, was Illinois coming back from 28-3 to defeat Michigan State.
Yeah, we had to get that mention in there.
And it was 28-10 at the start of the fourth quarter. That's the crazier part.
Yeah.
They were down 18 points at the start of a quarter and came back and won.
I live vicariously through Matt when it comes to college football in a way, because my college did not have a college football team, but I do root for Boise State because I just love their blue field, so that's just been my team thing. But when Illinois finally got bowl eligible for the first time since
my freshman year of college,
that was awesome. It was a really cool feeling. Back to the NFL though. Totally fine. Fair tangent. The games I really want to talk about are like the upsets, and the first one that stood out to me was the Saints, because you and I both picked them as our NFC Championship game and as our NFC Championship team. I think we both ended up picking them as our Super Bowl winner, and then
I think I said Saints would win, but I want Baltimore to win.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But regardless, Saints laid an egg then on the Sunday after we said that, so that works out great. The Saints, it was a game where, at least where I saw it, it just seemed like the offense, nothing was working. Drew Brees seemed out of sync. Alvin Kamara did not show up, and the defense that was supposed to get pressure on the the Falcons defense just showed up out of nowhere. After all these months of us saying the defense is what's holding this team back, it's been awful, and then they come against the Saints team that's supposed to be unbeatable, and they completely ruined Drew Brees' day. It's insane. It was absolutely an incredible. It was 6 sacks. The Saints did not give up barely any sacks over the course of the season. They gave up 6 sacks to the Falcons of all teams. It was the most wild result, because it's like, what is happening? How does this happen? Is it just because it's a rivalry, or is it is this because the Falcons are now on the trend up, or are the Saints going to be trending down now? Do we not trust the Saints offense? There's so much about the Saints team I do not know now. I'm confused. So that's where I'm at on that.
lot of my same concerns. Obviously, like having Drew Brees, Kamara, and Jared Cook even all back at once.
Yeah,
should have propelled the offense, but weird shit happens.
Yeah,
and we just gotta move on. This is a fluke, and the Saints seem to have a fluke every year. Like last year was against Dallas.
Yeah,
or even Tampa Bay week 1.
Right. That was
a result of Fitz magic.
Yeah, that was as fluky as it got because they ended up rattling off. They didn't lose again until that Dallas game, which was in December, I think, or at least the last day in November or whatever it was. So yeah, it's wild. It's a very weird situation. But it's Saints just gotta have to recover from that, and Dan Quinn saved his job for at least a little bit longer. What's your next matchup?
My other one is the Packers and the Panthers. This was a very close game. It felt really close throughout all of it, and Aaron Jones continuing to be the best Aaron on the team. I'm not wrong. Aaron Rodgers is doing what he needs to do.
No, Aaron Rodgers is playing well, dude. He's playing really, really well. He's an MVP candidate in my book. He's not the MVP candidate, but he's an MVP candidate.
I don't know. Like he's playing really well, but he's not the player that he was in terms of what he's able to do in a game.
I would disagree with that too.
Is an example of his what?
I would disagree with that too.
Okay. No, but look, like if you look at the Raiders game from this year, that is what you expect Aaron Rodgers to do at his best.
Right.
And he doesn't come he's barely come close to that this season. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm just thinking from a fantasy football output because he's sucked for fantasy football, and that's where most of my like analysis and experience on how well a player does comes from. But
yeah, so from a fantasy, if you're looking for a fantasy expert output, sure, he hasn't thrown as many touchdowns. It's what he has done in the middle of the field that has really been spectacular this year. They've been giving Aaron Jones most of the touchdowns. I mean, that's just what that's what it is this year.
Right.
That I don't think that's a deterrent on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that has deterred him as a player. I think he's played really well.
Yeah, and he definitely has played well. It's just the game script is different from what we're used to from Aaron Rodgers.
I guess.
Yeah. So maybe I was a little bold in saying Aaron Jones was the best Aaron on the team. But my point he still scored their 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
And the Panthers played them pretty close. I think there was, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a turnover that I think turned into a touchdown on the Panthers end. That turned into a Packer touchdown.
I'm forgetting a lot of the game if I'm being honest with you, but I think it was something along those lines.
Yeah. So other than that, Panthers played well. Kyle Allen led them to a very close goal line comeback that they would have had to get the 2-point because they missed a 2-point earlier. A lot of people question the Ron Rivera's decision in that sense to go for the 2-point the first time. I think it would have been fine either way, but obviously they didn't get the touchdown at the end and anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But it was still a close game, and it shows that I really think it shows that the Panthers have a really solid team.
Yeah.
Going up against the Packers, and it's a shame that their season is probably not going to end in a playoff berth when they have the probably definitely the only non-quarterback MVP candidate on their team.
Right. I mean, and I think that I think McCaffrey and the defense has been the two things that should be carrying it through. But I mean, give credit to Kyle Allen, who has been doing a decent job as well. I mean that, and first of all, the fact that it starts snowing in the second half was just it made the game look awesome. So from a visual point of view, I love the game. But it was also, yeah, I agree. I felt like there's some backlash by Panther fans about the Ron Rivera decision. I disagreed. I thought it was worth the risk. Because ultimately, right, you if you scored a touchdown, you go with. I think it's fine to go for the 2-point conversion at that point, because if you get it, then you have a chance to win the game.
Exactly.
Later on in the game, but.
And then you go to overtime, and who in their right mind wants to face Aaron Rodgers in overtime?
Yeah, Ron Rivera, because he has the stones for it. But I think right, the Packers, or I should say the Panthers, deserve a lot of praise by the way they play this game. But hey, and the Packers are. It's gonna be interesting. They have a bye this week, and we found out just now that the Packers game has just been flexed to Sunday Night Football against the Niners. So that's gonna be an outstanding.
That's gonna be an excellent matchup.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. So Panthers. I'm not gonna count out the Panthers out of the playoff race. It's gonna be tough though in a deep NFC. It's just the division. If
the Panthers were in the AFC, I would give them like the benefit of the doubt that they could make it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just the tough NFC where you have two teams from every division except the East that could make it.
Right. That's I think that's the scenario right now. It's that whole the Cowboy Eagle thing. I'm so sick of the East right now.
We, like, I said the Eagles were going to win the division. You said the Cowboys, and now both of us are very much doubting ourselves.
I know the
Eagles were on a bye, but
either one of them are gonna win it.
One of them is going to win. I don't think the other one's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a tough climb right there.
But one of them has to win.
That's true. They have to. For tooth and nail, they'll have to win, even if they don't.
One of them will win a division.
My last game I wanted to touch upon was Chiefs Titans, just because Titans are just war in the world. I mean, I once again, even with Tannehill, this Titans team is just as bipolar as possible. Completely laying an egg against the Panthers, and then all of a sudden against the Chiefs. I mean, maybe because it was there at home, but the defense was outstanding, or at least was trying to control it at least. Derrick Henry was excellent, and then
the number of 60+ yard runs that Derrick Henry has is insane.
He's still a monster. But I also think that the offense under Ryan Tannehill, as weird as this sounds, still it feels a little bit more competent. It just does with him at the guard.
It really does.
And the receivers are stepping up. Offensive line is still disaster for Titans, for the Titans team, but I don't know. I think that it just, to me, the AFC South is wide freaking open. I think anything can happen at this point. Texans might be running away with it right now, but if they lose on Sunday, and let's say the Titans are on bye, so let's say the Jaguars end up beating the Colts. I mean, there's 3 5-5 teams right there, plus a 6-4 team. Anything can happen at this point. But the Chiefs, on the other hand, I'm ready to call this team I'm done with them. I'm really am.
A lot of people are blaming Andy Reid's time management for this loss.
That's a frequent Andy Reid criticism.
Yes.
But yes, you can, but I don't trust a team whose defense relies on moments. We're gonna get hot for this game but not for this other. You can't do it like that. You have to play. I mean, I'm not saying that the players aren't giving it 100% every single game, of course they are, but they are consistently running hot and cold. The running game is a disaster for the Chiefs. Their offensive line is not doing anything of benefit. The Chiefs had a quarterback and receivers who could try to carry them the way. Would not be shocked at this point if the Raiders won the division. I wouldn't. I'm at that point with the Chiefs because I'm just you could blame Andy Reid's time management. That's fine, but I could absolutely see they have a tough schedule down the road that this could fall apart. And Again, it was a close game, so obviously you never know what can happen. But they're at 4 losses at this point. This is not.
This is not the MVP Mahomes team.
Right, he's playing great. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has regressed at all, but the team around him is not doing it.
Yeah, got weird stuff rotating at running back. Like you said, defense that relies on plays. A wide receiver core that constantly rotates under Tyreek Hill. It's weird.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I think the receiver core is still a strength in a sense. You know, Mecole Hardman is playing well, and Travis Kelce. But you're right though. It's like it's so up in the air with this team. It's like I don't trust them right now. And if you look at the Chiefs versus the Raiders have actually played more consistently in recent weeks.
They have.
It's just the way it's been. So it's weird. I don't like it, but it's the way things are. And there's plenty of other games that were great, but we're gonna cut it off here because we could talk about Week 10 forever. But it delivered. It was awesome, and I'm super excited about that. So turning the page now to Week 11. We do our previews for these games while we do the picks. So we don't really have to dive too deep into previewing these football matchups. But we here at Virtual Ball Boys have a fascination with mascots, and we've discussed this prior to the season, and we haven't really been able to do it to this point. But we're always fascinated by the battle matchups of mascots, like what would happen if we put a cowboy against a lion in a fight. And just see what happens.
The lion would always win.
The lion will win. But it's a battle between these two mascots and what would happen within them. But we want to put a unique twist on this. So not to go too deep into it, I have a expansion pack for a game called Super Fight, which is basically a game about debating what two characters who would win in a fight, essentially. And this expansion pack is called the Challenge Deck, and essentially what it is that it gives a scenario outside of fighting where 2 individuals would be pitted against in a certain scenario, like a cooking competition or something along those lines, and the 2 people would have to debate which individual would win that battle. So what me and Matt are going to try to do is we're going to take the mascot battles for Week 11, at least 3 of the games, and we're going to pit them against each other in a yet to be determined battle. Now
we've also already decided our sides.
Yes.
So even if one is clearly better, we cannot change it.
We have to argue it. All right.
We have to argue it.
And once we're done arguing it, if I remember, I'll post a poll on. I'll post 3 polls online to who you think won the argument, or even who you think would win in this certain situation. So we're gonna start with I think we said Falcons versus Panthers in this one.
Yes.
So I took the role of the Falcons, and Matt took
what is going to be our matchup. I will be doing the Panthers, obviously.
Yes. So I'm about to pull the first card here. Between the Falcon and the Panther, who would win at Dodgeball? Now, Here's the thing. It's a team sports here. So this, according to this card, it says it's a team sport. So all fighters are multiplied by 8.
Okay, so 8 Panthers versus 8 Falcons.
8 Falcons. I'll let you have the floor for the first argument.
Okay, well, to start out, the Dodgeball is probably bigger than the Falcon. So they're automatically at a disadvantage in terms of in the sense of they will not be able to pick up the ball. where Panthers, they've got two hands that they can kind of, I'm assuming like actual Panthers, not like anthropomorphized ones. Panthers would grab them with both and would be able to get up on their hind legs and throw them. Panthers are huge, and but they're also they do have cat-like reflexes, so they would be able to get out of the way quickly, and be able to spot a falcon throwing the ball from a mile away if the falcon somehow was able to pick up the ball in the first place. because it would be hard for the falcon to like pick it up and be sneaky about it. So the Panthers would have ample time to like dodge, get out of the way. They have good senses. They're aware of their surroundings, and they would be able to at least teamwork, through the power of teamwork, take down the Falcons.
Okay, but here's the thing though, when you're talking about a falcon, it's gonna be hard. Maybe when you have 8 of them, you could maybe get a few birds. But when the bird is flying around, that's a hard thing to throw at and beat. That's a hard thing to completely aim at the bird, and the bird can elusively move away from the ball. I could see it where a panther throws a ball, and with the big wingspan of the falcon, they're able to at least hold on to the ball, and that would mean that the ball would be caught, which means that the panther would be eliminated. And through that, I think the falcon could win in the game of dodgeball. It would be it's certainly an uphill battle. I'm not saying that. This is I think definitely in the Panthers' favor, but I think a falcon with its elusiveness could get out of the way, and it could. I think that through defense, it could end up winning this game. Not like the team, but like the bird. So there you go.
Yeah, dodgeball weighs 0.21 pounds.
Oh, now we're doing the science of.
A falcon actually weighs 3.2.
It could happen.
It's true.
They can catch it. They're not small birds. They're decent size.
No, they're not.
Decent size, and I think with the wingspan, they can at least cusp it, and I mean, yeah, maybe the ref would have to really weigh.
It's just the force and velocity on whether or not they would be able to completely do it. I think.
Well, I think it's like if you have the wing like close the bird, like if the bird closes its wings around the ball, the referee, whoever is in play at the dodgeball competition, would have to determine whether or not the bird got hit by the dodgeball or if it actually caught it. So that's
right.
That's something that has to weigh. But I think
they would have to time it well though, because like if the bird gets hit by a ball, it's gonna get knocked back. It's gonna have a split second of time to actually like catch the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking like professional dodgeball birds,
dodgeball birds, professional dodgeball birds is the title of this episode.
Professional dodgeball birds, they could absolutely. I think that they could do it. I mean, we're also dealing with professional dodgeball panthers. So I mean, it's
yes.
a tough. I think it's a playoff dodgeball game. I think it's a tough matchup, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So, all right, I like that. Let's do another one now.
All right, next up, we are going to do the Bills versus the Dolphins. Obviously, the Bills is not the actual mascot of Buffalo.
It's a buffalo.
It's a buffalo. Their names is backwards.
Yes.
What do you think their name? I know Buffalo Bills like the name of an outlaw, but what if the team actually called themselves the Buffalo Buffaloes?
Honestly, I mean, you get kind of close with like all the other teams around them. Like there's like the Buffalo Bison, which is like a minor league team. Like they really try hard.
Buffalo is a complete sentence. 7 buffaloes.
I've heard that before, and my brain hurts every single time. Okay, so
I'll explain it to you later.
I'm going to be arguing for the Buffalo.
And I'm going to be arguing for the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins. Okay, here we go.
Which should be very entertaining.
Fencing. All right, I'm starting.
Okay.
Damn it. I don't like this one, but all right.
So we can do another one.
No, listen, the card speaks. The card speaks, and we must listen. I think that I'm trying to think of like the rules of fencing. Like, so like there's like, I know that you have there's
You're in a straight line, you got to try to land a blow on the opponent.
Right. And so it would require the buffaloes. I think the idea of a buffalo and a dolphin in a fencing outfit, it makes my day. It makes me want to see it animated.
This is why I wanted to do this matchup.
This is very entertaining.
Yes.
I think that with the buffalo, it has the speed, I think, the speed where. Oh, now you know what? Now I feel like this. Here's the big thing though: is this on the surface or in the water? This is the tough. This is tough.
Well, yeah, that's why I think it's like maybe it's next to like an aquarium pool, where the buffalo can be on land, but the dolphin can be in water.
Okay, if we're talking about that, then the buffalo has the higher ground advantage. In this scenario. Where they might, this is like it's not so much as level as we think in terms of the size, in terms of where things are happening. So the buffalo, I think, with its hoof, will try to stab at the dolphin and try to get them, and it use its quick. Its charging ability to really be able to stick the dolphin and make sure to do it respectfully, of course, because we all know fencing is a respectful game. We bow to our opponents after the fact. I think, it's a long sword battle. And I think the advantage that the buffalo might have is that the hands are not, they're not fins. I mean, they're hooves, I know, but they're not wet. And I think that there's going to be better control of the sword in this sense, where I think the buffalo will be able to, have easier control as to going after the dolphin. So that's my argument.
All right. I actually need to look up another science fact.
I love that this is becoming like a Google search of various animals at this point.
So I was gonna look up do narwhals count as dolphins? In which case I think they would have a significant advantage. But as I was putting this in to Google search, the suggested comment I got was, do narwhals count as unicorns?
Oh my god.
I'm going to continue doing the dolphin one. They are related to the bottlenose dolphin.
I don't
but they're more related to the to beluga whales.
Okay.
And since the Miami Dolphins are not narwhals, I will exclude narwhals from the equation.
You're trying to bring a narwhals into this. You're trying to bring a narwhal to a dolphin fight. How dare you?
That being said, dolphins are extremely intelligent. And as much as fencing is a game about physical skill, it is also a game of mental skill, mental capacity, and awareness of your body, of your surroundings, and what your opponent's moves are. You know what dolphins have? Echolocation.
Okay.
So not only would they be able to like visibly see, but they may be able to, with their echolocation, figure out the movements of what the buffalo does. Now, I don't know if dolphin echolocation works above water.
Right.
So that may be trouble. I know bat echolocation is a thing though, so I'm gonna assume that they work kind of similarly.
Yeah, I mean.
That will at least help with the movements. I also think that dolphins, just being more skinny and narrow, have a better propensity for fencing than a buffalo would, where a buffalo would maybe be better at those those you stand on a platform and like hit each other with the big foam poles.
Yeah.
That would be more of a buffalo type of game, where fencing would be more of a dolphin game.
Man, you're basically telling the buffalo just be like, change your sport. You will never be a fencer. You're crushing its streams. Well, I mean, I don't know about the whole ecolocation thing. I feel like that if that's the ability that dolphins have, I feel like that would. I don't know. Does that really require water? I don't
know. I just because it's like it's making noises and then listening to how those sound waves bounce off of objects. So I imagine it doesn't need water. Yeah. Dolphins aren't out of water.
Will be present, I would say at least, so that could at least help it in some capacity on that front.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 good battles thus far. Next and last but not least, the ram versus the bear.
I am taking the bear as the Bears fan.
Of course. I will take on the ram. All right, here we go. Hottest pop star. Here we go.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Hottest pop star. All right,
Okay.
you go ahead first. I am totally
Shit.
researching my art. Researching this.
Jesus.
I love it. Let's go. Let's go.
All right. Well, bears have larger frames. Compared to so do we mean hot? This is a dumb question. I don't want. We mean hot isn't like popular, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, wait. Well. Actually, hold on though. Hottest pop star. I would argue looks. I think we're talking looks, aren't we?
I think when we talk about like the hottest pop star, the hottest thing, that's usually in terms of popularity. Like who's the hot thing right now?
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I would argue that just the terminology in this case is used in that sense.
Okay. That's fine. I will agree with that.
So music's all about trying to find the newest like thing, right? The newest style.
Sure.
Bears generally have like are kind of like deep rumbly like rah, noises.
Right.
Which could be some sort of like new age kind of new age isn't hot. What am I doing? The like it's a new unique sound that could be the new like defining sound genre of the decade. And I think that bears with the ability to, I would say, more easily be on two legs than a ram would have a little bit of an advantage there, because they would be able to at least like perform more and do more choreography as on two legs. And I'm not talking about like circus bears, because circuses treat animals relatively poorly overall. So not in that sense, but just in general, I think I could get more choreography out of a bear than I could a ram. So that's my argument for bear and hottest pop star.
Okay. Well, I think that we're talking about pop stars. We're talking about music, of course, and I feel like the magic of those two horns. I think that I think that there is something magical about those horns that are not they're not just like, 'cause you could throw any bear on a stage, you know. It's a bear. You could throw any bear on a stage. You'll probably murder a bunch of people, but you could throw a bear on a stage. But there's something about a ram and having the horns the way they are, and that I think could make beautiful music. I don't know if anyone has ever attempted to try to tap on those horns. That would be probably dangerous, or But I think that you could potentially make beautiful music from that, and I just think that a ram just generally they would dominate the red carpet. Are you kidding? The outfits they would come up with for a ram, I think that's to me. I think it's about the music, sure, but you got the looks factor, and I think the ram has it.
You can
there.
decorate those horns,
and it just it bedazzle them to no end. I think there's so much potential for the ram. May not be able to create as amazing music, but I think would be able, just they would be iconic in the way that they present themselves, and I think that's what will make them a hot stud in the pop industry. That's
very respectable. I've really enjoyed our discussions over the past 20 minutes. We need to do more of this in the future.
All right, so I'm gonna keep my pack here. That's out of context, very weird. I will keep my deck of cards of scenarios here on the table, and we will return to this maybe in a few weeks. We love our reoccurring series. I'm sure that I would love the idea of bringing that back for future ones. I think this was a good week to do it. I think because you had like a few good animal versus animal, because then you have like the human versus animals, and you're like,
that's a little more suspect. Whenever we get the animal versus animal, that's the golden zone.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. So we'll see how that goes. But for right now, we move on to week 11 completely now. We're going to be talking about the football side of things.
Week 10 was not kind to us.
Not at all. I went 5-8, and Matt went 4-9.
We both got our chaos right and our guarantee wrong.
Yeah, so in case you didn't see it on Twitter, essentially with the Matthew Stafford all of a sudden out of nowhere, having a back industry. He's creating.
He's putting the backs out of the industry.
We're keeping the backs in business right now, but he had a back injury, which ultimately that it ended up putting him out of the game, and so last minute I decided to switch my guarantee and my pick for that game. I went with the Bears. And I switched my guarantee over to the Giants. That still did not work out for me. So, but we ended up only disagreeing on one game, and the Bucs ended up pulling through with a very shoddy, potential pass interference call. Maybe that should have gone the Cardinals' way. I don't know. But I went 5-8, and Matt went 4-9. I think it was our worst week in a while.
I lost 5 points.
Yeah, I lost 3. So we're currently sitting, the record, at least for me, is 86-61. I still have that -4 with 21 points in all at the moment.
Oh, 21. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came out a little worse for wear. Yeah. 84-63 is my record, but -5 on the week.
Yeah, -5 on the week. So that you lost.
So 17 points.
17 points. You still have the -4 qualifier, though, because you got the team chaos, but no guarantee. So that didn't change anything, luckily. So, yeah, bad week. But it happens when shit hits the fan, and we'll see how this week plays out. And, Matt, get us started with Thursday Night Football.
Let's do that. The Pittsburgh Steelers, coming off their win against the Rams, go to Cleveland to face the Browns. That would be weird if they faced a team that wasn't the Browns in Cleveland. Also coming off of a win.
I do wonder, we do say that a lot. We're just like, they're going to go to Dallas to take on the Bills. Yeah. I feel like at some point we just throw people off.
Yeah. Both teams coming off of a win, very close wins. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Man, I think if there's any team that we've kept in the grave that's gonna end up coming back to bite us, it might be the Steelers at this point. Their offense is, I still don't think their offense is playing well, but their defense is very good, and I still do not trust this Brown team. I know they won, but their offense still remained inept. Even with Nick Chubb, playing well, and the defense, did what it could, but I'm thinking it's gonna be a slugfest. It's not gonna be a pretty game. I just think the Steelers have had the Browns number a lot, so I'm going Steelers in this one.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well. I'm a big fan of the win streak that Pittsburgh is on. Not a fan because I don't like the Steelers, but that interests me a lot in this matchup. And they should get James Conner back, which will impact.
Yes, big time.
Impact the team.
Yeah.
I will also go with the Steelers if I didn't say that yet.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You just said Steelers.
Okay.
All right. So that's that. Next up, I was just checking real quick because I forgot where I did my guarantee. I did not guarantee the Steelers in this one, so okay. I just wanted to make sure. Falcons at the Panthers. I mean, the Falcons are coming off their biggest win of the year, one of their only wins of the year. They
50% of their wins of the year.
50% of the wins of the year. They stepped up big time on the road. They're on the road again this week to take on a Panthers team that lost a close game on the goal line to the Green Bay Packers. What do you think is going to happen?
I think the Panthers have a lot of fight in them as a team, and their ability to bounce back from a close win, I think, is very good. And playing at home, they beat the Titans at home. The Falcons are frisky, but I still like the Panthers, who could still be playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I like the Panthers too. Because I think they're a better team right now. I kudos to the Falcons. Let me see you do it 2 weeks in a row.
If they do it 2 weeks in a row, I won't know what to do with any of my fandoms anymore.
Yeah, just ship them off at this point. Next up,
Buffalo Bills take on the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins are the only AFC East team with a 2-game winning streak.
There you go, man. There you go.
where the Bills just come off of a loss to the Browns. How do you think this matchup's going to go, Chris?
Bills have given up so many rushing yards to teams in recent weeks. They have not played well up there. The secondary has been doing really well. Tre'Davious White is a Pro Bowl candidate, if not an All-Pro candidate. But the Bills' offense, I am still not complete. I don't have a lot of faith in it all right now, and mostly that comes from Josh Allen. He has like one or two pretty balls every single week, and that's about it. For the Dolphins, they're running a hot hand. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzmagic is gonna ruin their draft position because I'm picking the Dolphins. I'm team chaosing it.
I'm glad you've seen the Dolphins light. I don't know if I so I'm starting Kalen Ballage in fantasy this week.
Good. He'll run for 150 yards.
Yeah, but it's like Kalen Ballage. Like anytime you see him play before, he's not a good running back.
Bills. I know this is a horrible example, but Bills made Adrian Peterson look like he was 24. Like they completely dismantled that. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there that that's a good start for you.
It is. No. That being said, I still relatively trust the Bills defense, and I don't trust the Dolphins defense at all.
Well, I mean, they did stop Brian Hoyer.
It's Brian Hoyer.
But it's Josh Allen.
I think Josh Allen is better than Brian Hoyer.
Right, I guess so right now.
Weird hot take to make. It shouldn't be that hot.
Josh Allen he's not good. He's not.
If Josh Allen rushes, he'll be fine.
Yes, maybe. We'll see.
I honestly think that I believe that to be the case.
Yes.
If Josh Allen can rush more,
yeah,
he will be fine.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm gonna go with the Bills. I don't know how the Dolphins are doing this. But it's facing the Jets and it's facing Brian Hoyer. That's how they're doing it. And I don't think that Fitzmagic can only magic for so long.
Right. I think it's mostly the coaching staff for the Dolphins that's really been holding them up. But I don't know. There's something about it being at home. I think that that's gonna invigorate them to just kick ass. I just don't trust the Bills right now. So that's at least my argument on that front. The Cowboys are heading to Detroit to take on the Vikings. I'm just kidding. The Lions.
Jesus.
The Lions. So the Cowboys coming off a tough loss against the Vikings. A lot of play calling issues down the line. While the Lions obviously Stafford was not part of that game plan on Sunday, but it was still a tough loss for them in Chicago. What do you think is going to happen this week?
I think that the Cowboys sucked though.
Dak Prescott was good. I thought so.
Yeah. I think with I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here. The Lions, they almost came back and beat the Bears, but the Bears aren't who they were last year by any stretch. And having the Cowboys still playing well enough with Dak and Cooper having a good connection. If Zeke can exploit this awful run defense, that the Lions have,
right,
then there will be a lot of success there. I still like the Cowboys defense. I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, the defense kind of let them down against the Vikings, but I'm with you. I think that they're too talented to really give up any hope there. I think the offense gets done against a bad Lions defense as a whole. Yeah, I completely agree. I'm with you.
Okay. Next up is Denver Broncos taking on the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota.
Yes.
Minneapolis, to be more specific.
Yes.
U.S. No, I'm gonna stop there. Broncos coming off of a bye. Yes. Yes.
The Broncos, did they play last? No, they did not. No. I don't think.
Coming off a bye. The Vikings coming off of an excellent display on Sunday Night Football. And the Vikings have beaten every NFC East team
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
So who do you think's gonna win?
I gotta go with Vikings, and they're starting to really remain consistent now. Kirk Cousins wins in prime time, does
He
a pretty
does.
good job, and I mean everything's looking up for the Vikings. I think this is gonna be a tough race down the line, Vikings and Packers, but I think both of them are making the playoffs right now. So I like the Vikings a lot in this matchup.
Hope to God the Vikings win the division over the Packers.
We'll see.
As division rivals, I can stand the Vikings. I can't the Packers. I'm gonna go Vikings.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars head to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Jaguars are getting back Nick Foles this week, so that should be pretty interesting to see how that goes. The Colts, meanwhile, are coming off of a brutal loss to the Dolphins. Of course, Brian Hoyer and basically all the receivers were injured for that game. We do not know right now exactly what the status of Jacoby Brissett is. It sounds like he'll probably be good to go against the Colts, but it looks like Helton and Campbell on the receiver front are still out for this game. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
And I think that's going to hurt the Colts a lot in the long run. Whether Jacoby's back or not having those receiving weapons are going to affect them. I think Foles helps bring this team up a peg from Minshew. As fun as Minshew was, Foles is a much better quarterback. It may take a bit for them to get started, but I'm still going to go with Jaguars in this matchup.
Yeah, I really liked Minshew when he was out there. So, I mean, I think that it was... I think, yes, Nick Foles, I think, will do really well with this team. At least I'm hoping that he does really well with this team. So, I'm going with Jacksonville as well. I think that I think that this is where the Jaguars were at where they started the season, and hopefully, now that they get their main guy back at quarterback.
I think the fact that Minshew was playing well enough, maybe not a ton in the London game, but he was playing well enough that they would be able to wait until Foles was 100%.
Exactly, it worked.
So Foles is going to be 100%.
Yeah, and he should play well at least. Yeah, it gets a Colts team that just hasn't been the same for a while now. So Jaguars, in that.
Okay. One. Next up, New Orleans Saints coming off of their surprise loss to the Falcons. Take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another divisional matchup against a weak opponent for the Saints. How do you think this one's going to go?
Gotta go with the Saints. I mean, I still have faith in this team, although someone who I respect a lot when it comes to NFL analysis, and Chris Westlake of the Around the NFL podcast, who, by the way, I should say that podcast has been a huge inspiration for what we do here for me personally, why I started doing these football things in the first place. So I don't give them enough credit, but I love them. They're awesome. But Chris Wesseling has been saying since Thanksgiving that he feels the Saints offense has been on a decline. And as good as the Saints have been, even with Teddy Bridgewater in the mix, they have just not been like a non-stop offense like they were in the beginning of 2018. With that being said, I still think they're a complete team. I still think they can be competitive against anyone. That won't change unless they lose to this Buccaneers team, so I'm going Saints.
Yeah, we need to reassess everything, and we need to change the Super Bowl picks if they lose to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, might be the case.
Yeah, I'm going with Saints as well.
Yeah, definitely. Next, the New York Jets coming off of a win against their crosstown rival Giants. Goddamn. Take on the Washington Redskins.
As a New Yorker who is a fan of both teams, how do you feel about that result?
So I didn't I didn't get a chance to really talk about it a lot last week because I know we were kind of short for time, but I felt like it was a game of two teams that are bad at what they do.
Correct.
And I think it was an indictment of the Gettleman era and even the Shermer era, even though I still like Shermer as a coach, but I think that he's probably going to be on his way out. But it's an indictment on Gettleman in the sense that he has a quarterback who's playing well. 4 touchdowns, turnover the ball. The turnovers are bad, but he only gave up the ball once, and that was when Jamal Adams basically ripped the ball out of his hands. But
And Saquon Barkley comes back and goes for yard.
For single yard. Yeah. Nah, most of that though was also the offensive line not playing well, and the Jets. The one thing the Jets have really done well this year is that their defensive line is deep. That was kind of why they were able to trade Larry Williams. So I looked at that game and I felt like the Giants could lose that game. It's not something that shocked me. I guarantee the Giants because I felt like, okay, I could see it where the Giants just get the upper hand of a Jets team that's just spiraling, but it didn't happen that way, and the Jets have some hope. It seems like the Jets just have a little bit more talent, just a tiny bit more talent than the Giants. It just does right now. I think the Giants are still they have nothing on defense. Nothing. It's ridiculous.
You know who has nothing anywhere?
That's the Washington Redskins.
Washington. As a result, I'm going to guarantee the Jets against my better judgment.
Yeah. I think it's okay.
It's fun to guarantee the bad matchups.
It is because you feel kind of like there's not as much at stake. Weirdly, it's just how it is. I'm with you. I'm going Jet. Because I think the Jets kind of showed that they can do something, anything. They have a pulse of some kind. It's gonna be a wash of a season regardless. But there's something there that was supposed to be this Jets team that could go to the playoffs potentially. But not obviously not this year. But I'm just saying it's something is there, and I think that they get a 2-game winning streak under their belt right now. So Jets.
All right. I'm up next. Houston Texans take on the Baltimore Ravens. Texans also coming off of a bye, with the Ravens coming off of a really, really big win. No, that was 2 weeks. That was 2 weeks ago. That Patriots was 2 weeks ago. Still a big win, dominating Cincinnati.
Yeah.
This is a matchup between I think our two favorite teams in the conference right now.
Yeah, I would say that, and it's between two quarterbacks I've loved ever since college, and they are just. There is nothing that gives me more excitement than a Lamar Jackson Deshaun Watson matchup right now. It is going to be so much fun seeing these two talented quarterbacks go up against each other. It's hard to pick this game because I could see it going other ways. But if I'm looking at the overall talent of either team right now, I really like what the Ravens are doing. Their defense is playing much better. The Marcus Peters trade is working out great for them. I love Lamar Jackson. He's just unstoppable. Deshaun Watson's unstoppable too. He's an amazing player. I just think the Ravens will have the 1.2 point advantage in this game.
I think so as well. I think both quarterbacks are playing very well, but the overall offense on the Ravens, especially at running back and O-line, are going to serve them a lot better in this matchup.
Yep.
There's also the fact that Ravens are home. The Texans defense is a little suspect right now. Quarterbacks are about the same. Obviously, Hopkins is the best receiver in the game.
Sure.
But I don't think that's going to matter compared to the rest of the Ravens team. So I'm gonna be strong with the Ravens.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm so excited. I'm getting this game at 1:00, even though I usually watch Red Zone. I might opt to just watch this game.
I would just watch that game. I gotta check what game I get.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm so.
I might get the Bears.
Well, no, the Bears
Bears play Sunday night.
So yeah, you're good, man. You should be good at least. Unless you get
Let's hope.
You get the Vikings probably.
It doesn't say yet.
But you might get the Vikings You might get the Vikings just because it's your division.
Well, that might be on Fox though, and I might get CBS this game.
No, Vikings CBS.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
That sucks. I don't want to watch the Vikings.
Yeah. Well.
I don't want it, Daddy. I don't want to watch the Vikings, Daddy.
Next up, wow, I'm turning the page on that. The Cardinals go to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. I was going to make another joke there, but I decided not to. But the Niners lost their first game, and the Bengals now are the only team that have a 0 in their record. But
Yes.
the Niners, they're in a position where they're hoping to get their receivers back. They're certainly George Kittle, and they're taking on a Cardinals team that has been frisky, but they're looking for a win right now. What do you think's going to happen?
This Cardinals team can really turn it on when they need to. I mean, just look at last week, especially in the passing game. Granted, it was against the Buccaneers defense, but I think this passing game especially is what the Cardinals want to be.
Yeah.
This actual air raid, chuck the ball down the field, get 130 yards and only 6 catches by a player kind of thing.
Yeah.
That being said, the 49ers are a really, really good football team and won't lose to the Cardinals.
Yeah. This was a close matchup on Thursday Night Football, 2 weeks ago. That was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so...
And now the Niners are at home, though.
Yeah, the Niners are at home. I've had, we've had discussions, in the past where playing a team so close to one another usually ends up resulting in an opposite result. If the Niners won that game, the Cardinals could win this game. I don't see that happening, though, because I just think the Niners are the better team from top to bottom, and I really have confidence in them that they're going to win it. So I'm going with them. Next up,
49ers are my backup Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's you and me both at this point.
Yep. All right, Cincinnati Bengals are they searching for their first win? I don't know if they are at this point.
There's 0 wins.
Well, I just mean, would they be actually searching for it, or did they want to lose out?
Oh, I see. Yeah, you know what? Who knows at this point?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely don't want to be the next Browns, but they're facing the Oakland Raiders, who get another farewell game in their Oakland stadium. We don't know much about this new Bengals offense. We don't know if A.J. Green will be back or not.
I mean,
I don't think it will matter.
Nothing matters with this Bengals team. It's Ryan. I don't know why the team felt like they would win with Ryan Finley. I mean, unless they really think he could be like a future star. I think
it might be more of just a tryout for the future.
I guess I get that. I also know that if that was the case, they should have benched Andy Dalton earlier, and they should have traded. The thing about the Bengals and their franchise is that they never want to trade people away because they just are in the conventional thinking that they must keep talent and storing talent constantly and not doing anything with it. But when
and then they don't sign any high free agents,
right? And they don't sign any high free agents, and they just barely make any trades. And so this is they should have traded Andy Dalton, they should have traded AJ Green, they should have traded all these guys to get draft capital, so that way
the Dolphins are doing. I didn't think I would praise the Dolphins, but
but it's true though. This team, that they don't know how to run a franchise right now, and I think that the Raiders, who we just said earlier, at least I said that it's one of the most consistent teams in the league right now. They're winning on both sides of the ball. They're doing a decent job, and they're still kind of on the fringe of good teams. They're not amazing or great yet, but if they have a game like this against the Bengals, if they could blow these guys out of the water and then go into next week, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, do they play the Chiefs next? Oh no, the Chiefs are on bye next week.
Chiefs are on bye next week. Week 13.
That week will. So I all I know is that I think that
they play week 13.
Okay. If they could win that game, I mean this is, and they have the Jets. They have the Bengals and the Jets, and then they have the Chiefs. If they could win those 3 games and they beat the Chiefs, then they're in the conversation of really good teams.
They are, honestly. It's so weird.
It's just that's where we're at, and by the way, the streak is on the line of the amount of years where a team has gone worst to first. This Raiders team was worst last year.
Huh.
So there's a chance they go. Although, wait a second, I might be wrong about that. Were
Broncos? No, it might have been Raiders. Hold on.
That's something
2018 AFC West.
I think
the Raiders were the worst.
They were the worst.
Raiders were 4-12. Broncos were 6-10.
The Raiders are your best shot right now because right now and maybe the Jaguars, but that's it. But the Raiders,
Jaguars, I think, is a little farther out.
Yeah, that's your best opportunity right now. Other than that, you don't see any other team coming out of the woodwork to try to win the division. This is your opportunity. I could see them trying to get it. I like the Raiders in this one.
Yeah, I do too. And obviously, because it's the Bengals.
Yes, of course.
But still, the Raiders are a good team, and I would, if you pinned the Raiders up against another opponent, I might still pick them.
Right. It's
depending on the opponent, obviously, but
yeah, I think that they're just getting there. They're starting to play well, and they're starting to get coached well, which is I haven't praised John Gruden about anything right now, but he's getting it together. He's doing good.
Yeah.
Next up, the Patriots are taking on the Eagles in a Super Bowl 52 rematch. Of course, Nick Foles is nowhere near this game. He's in Florida, or in Indianapolis, at least for this week. But the Patriots are coming off of a bye. Both of these teams actually are coming off of a bye, and so they're well rested. The Patriots' record in the Belichick era after byes was 13-4, but they've been 6-3 in this decade, so that's a little bit more iffiness. But this Eagles team, they're well rested. They have a shot here, but there's still a lot of questions about their talent at receiver.
They did sign Jordan Matthews.
That we'll see. and a secondary, obviously, that we've been talking about has just been bad. So what's going to happen this one, Matt?
You can't go against the Patriots right now. Obviously, well, I did last time the Patriots played, and I was right.
You were right.
But the Baltimore's a stellar team, and I don't see the talent here at the Eagles level. Mm-hmm. Other than I think Carson Wentz, and honestly everyone but the receiving core in the secondary. And it's going to be rough for them, I think, to overcome the Patriots. So I'm going to stick with New England.
They have a distinct advantage of being at home, which is usually the best time to get the Patriots. Yep. But I'm with you. I gotta go Patriots, and I feel so good about it. I'm guaranteeing it, because I feel very confident that the Patriots will take care of business against this Eagles team, and let's ship this Eagles team at least a little bit away from the NFC East title.
Yes,
Cowboys will get some cushion for as long as they win against the Lions, of course.
I won't know what to do with the NFC East anymore.
Absolutely. All right, Sunday night,
Bears-Rams. This should have been the marquee matchup of the season, Super Bowl implications on the line between these two teams, possibly 1 and 2 seed, and now it's two very meh teams.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's in Los Angeles. What do you think is going to happen?
I feel that the Rams defense, despite its offensive concerns, have played really well. Jalen Ramsey being there has really helped this team and raised them to another level. They were all over Mason Rudolph in this game, and I don't see why they couldn't be all over Mitchell Trubisky in this game. I think that if you compare the talent between the Rams offense and the Bears offense right now, I see a lot more potential for the Rams to finally break through whatever rut that they're in and get back into it. And if we're talking coaching, I trust Sean McVay a lot more right now than Matt LaFleur. So, no, I'm sorry, not Matt LaFleur, Matt Nagy.
Matt Nagy.
So
too many Matts.
Called you the Packers head coach for a second.
How dare you?
So I'm going with the Rams in this one.
Yeah, this one's hard for me. I'm going to chaos the Bears. I don't have a lot of faith in it, and this is probably the team chaos I have the least faith in all season long. There's a chance, and the Goff especially hasn't been playing well, and I know that he's playing at home, which means he's going to be better. But I worry about the consistency of the Rams. And the Bears at least, the Bears haven't been good, but the Bears have been. It's gonna be weird to call them consistent, and I hope you know what I mean by consistent, in terms of they've kind of played at the same level all season, where the Rams have gone up and down.
I would say that they've been on decline. I think that I feel like they've been consistent recently, but they've been kind of consistently bad.
That's what I'm saying. They're at like a 40%.
Sure. Yes.
Where the Rams have gone up and down from that line. In terms of how good the Rams are. Yeah. I'm making sense in my head. I'm not conveying it well. I'm going to chaos the Bears. I'm going to close my eyes and hit the chaos button on this. I shouldn't do this because I'm behind. I'm really behind in points.
I look.
Damn it.
Do what you got to do. I mean, it's you're right in that the Rams have not been consistent. I personally look at the situation and I feel very confident that the Rams. I think that they came off of a bye and they just looked sluggish against a really good Steelers defense. So yeah. I don't know how much is that the Rams offense and how much of that is the Steelers defense. I know it was the Bengals, but they really hammered the Bengals in London. So that's just, to me, I look at the Rams and I'm like, I care more about this team right now, and I think it because of the fact that I see more potential here than the Bears at the moment. So that's how I'm feeling.
I agree with you. I want you to know that I agree with you.
You just gotta chaos.
But I gotta chaos someone.
You gotta chaos.
And I don't like any of these other matchups.
Join me in the Dolphins.
I don't want to do that again.
All right, fair enough. We move forward into Monday Night Football. It's the Chiefs. It's the Chargers.
Not in Los Angeles, though.
Yeah, it's in Mexico, and
Mexico City game.
Yeah, which that didn't happen last year. Last year it was supposed to be Chiefs or Rams. That ended up being relocated in LA, and the rest is history. But yes, this game has a lot less juice, considering that the Chiefs are kind of in a lull at the moment, and the Chargers looked like they could have finally turned around the season, and then Phillip Rivers just did not do well against the Raiders. So, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
I still have faith in the Chiefs. I think this neutral look, not that the Chargers ever have a home game, but this neutral location I think will be beneficial for the Chiefs, and I trust Mahomes to be able to win this game.
Yeah.
I don't like this is supposed to be such a good matchup.
Yeah.
But it's just not.
I'm looking at this right now, and there's a good argument you can make for a team chaos with the Chargers, but I like the Chiefs a lot with this game, just because I know the Chargers are talented, and it's going to be a tough game to play, but there is something about the fact that the Chiefs were almost here. The Chiefs were almost going to play in Mexico. They've been through this routine before, even though they never ended up getting to play here.
They still prepped for it.
I do. The only person I trust on the Chiefs right now is Patrick Mahomes, and I think he alone can beat this Chargers team. So,
I trust Tyreek Hill too.
Right.
And Kelsey. Yeah.
Right. So
but they're extensions of.
And I trust Nicole Hardman. Like I trust the receivers and that's it. That's right. That's
receivers
it.
and Mahomes.
Yeah, basically, and that
and
alone.
Maybe Chris Jones on the defense.
Yes, sure. So
if you want to be extremely specific.
The Ed Harrison Buck no. You're right. I was half serious, half kidding. The Chargers I'm good with them. I don't need to look at them, so I'm good with the Chiefs as well.
Okay.
So we disagreed on 2. It was our Team Chaoses.
So a very normal week.
2 games, and I believe we both stayed our guarantee. I forget. Did you? What was your guarantee? Oh, the
Mine
Jets.
was the Jets. Yep.
That's right. Okay. So we'll see how that all plays out. I will make a note of that in my notepad. So real quick, before we end things off, we have a very important announcement about Team Chaos Productions.
Yes, I almost forgot about this.
So we've been trying to get our podcasts underway, and it turns out we've been, at least me and my gaming podcast and the Total Drama Island podcast, but we've been left by our good friend Matt Walsh. He came through and has uploaded the first episode of the Table Party, which stars both of us as well as our friend Gabe, who you've obviously seen in past episodes of this past episode of the Virtual Ball Boys, and as well as my sister Kelsey. The 5 of us were very excited about this podcast, and the first few episodes delivered. We already have a few episodes under the belt. You can go to our YouTube channel. It's Team Chaos Productions. I don't have a direct link to it right now. I could try to link to it in the podcast description. But it is a excellent. If you don't know, obviously you don't know, the Table Party is a tabletop RPG podcast. So essentially, Dungeons and Dragons, and what we're doing is Monster of the Week, which is a game mode by who exactly? I forget what the name.
Evil Hat Productions.
Evil Hat Productions. So it's a Dungeons and Dragons spin-off type thing that has a lot less. The person that's in charge of it is called the Keeper, and he does not roll the dice like the Dungeon Master does in Dungeons and Dragons.
It's a very interesting game. It's kind of based off of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Supernatural type of shows, where you kind of like fight a different monster every arc, every quote unquote week. Right. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I think only episode 0 is up right now, where we kind of introduce our characters. But the rest of the uploads are going to be pretty consistent. Walsh did a great job with this arc, and I'm really excited to get more of it out there.
Yeah, it really, he did an outstanding job. It's on YouTube right now, and I've already showed him how to do uploading on Anchor. We'll see when that happens. I'm not entirely sure when that's gonna happen, but where I get the podcast going on Anchor as well, so people can listen to it on there. So that's and if you want to follow it, you can go to at the Table Party. That's where Matt will be or Walsh will be uploading all any kind of updates that are happening with the podcast. You could check it out there. And of course, for anything that we do, as more podcasts come to fruition, or as more episodes are updated, you can go to at Team Chaos Pods as well to keep track of all of that. So, with that all being said, thank you all so much for joining us. A fun episode. I really loved the debates. I think that to me is one of the highlights.
This is a segment that we will have to keep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And repeat.
That's a good one. I have a whole deck of cards here, so we have a few. I'm sure we have plenty of scenarios that we have to play out later. But thank you all so much for listening. See you next week.
Good morrow and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.